Alright guys, nobody panic. I'm sure there's a logical reason why this is happening. Breath of the Wild 2 Collector's Edition. Okay. What is up, Zelda fans? HMK here once again, and it looks like we're getting a lot of leaky things from Nintendo, who remains tight-lipped on their more tantalizing titles. Not too long ago, we got the supposed leak of Skyward Sword coming to the Nintendo Switch thanks to Amazon UK, which has been taken down, which is a given and makes sense. But now, oh man, an even bigger leak may have been upon us today when it comes out of the French retailer website known as WTNT. This site apparently made a listing for The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild sequel being listed on the site as Zelda Breath of the Wild 2 for a collector's edition. Which would make a ton of sense considering that the first Breath of the Wild game, and this is the next big Zelda game, and usually Zelda games do have collector's editions, that Breath of the Wild 2 is gonna get a pretty massive collector's edition. Maybe something that will make the original Breath of the Wild's collector's and master edition pale in comparison. There was no box art, no logo, no nothing, but the site had it listed with, of course, a placeholder date of 12/31/2020, which is a placeholder date, people. But it had the listing price of around 82 euros, which converts over to USD as just shy of $100. 98.88 to be more specific, but I mean, if this thing were to be 99.99, that would definitely be the ballpark for a collector's edition. However, as of this video, the listing has been taken down, but we do have screenshots that still exist. But the thing is, why are we even entertaining this notion supposedly of this retailer in France that could have leaked Breath of the Wild 2's collector's edition? That's because this website is the same website that previously leaked the existence of The Witcher 3 coming to the Nintendo Switch. So it seems like they know something that we don't. But given all of this information, it really puts us into a quandary when it comes to speculation. Because as of now, Breath of the Wild 2 doesn't even actually have a title. It's still listed as the sequel to The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild. Although I believe that in Japan, it actually could be called Breath of the Wild 2, just like Triforce of the Gods 2. We have yet to get an official subtitle. And we don't even have another trailer beyond the original E3 2019 trailer. So with this lack of promotion and whatnot, could it be possible that Breath of the Wild 2 is nearing the end of development and they're getting ready for collector's editions and whatnot? It seems really up in the air. There's a lot of people out there in terms of analysts and insiders that say that Breath of the Wild 2 could be a lot further in development than we can actually speculate. And given how Nintendo's been really weird in announcing their first party titles that are coming to the Switch this year, and of course how they handled Super Smash Bros. Ultimate in 2018, it's not completely out of the realm of possibility for them to already be gearing up for a game's release either late this year or early next year, especially given that next year is the 35th anniversary of Zelda. But then that throws the whole idea of Skyward Sword HD or Skyward Sword Switch into the fray. Because if we're talking about a collector's edition with Breath of the Wild 2 already, that means that Nintendo must have a firm idea of what they want to include in it. Unless we're gonna go with the Wild Boy theory that Skyward Sword HD could be packaged into the collector's edition of Breath of the Wild 2. I highly doubt that though. But when trying to make sense of these two aspects, I think I've come up with a theory. It could be possible that Skyward Sword HD is done, and that Breath of the Wild 2 could be almost done. Skyward Sword HD could release by the end of the year on the Switch in order to get people into the Zelda mood and then get people up to date with the backstory of Breath of the Wild and possibly Breath of the Wild 2, and gearing up for a Breath of the Wild 2 release in 2021, which they're already planning out. But why would Nintendo do something like this and not go through the loops of promotion? Well, that's the other piece of the puzzle. I believe with how old-fashioned Nintendo is and what's going on with the world right now, we can't really have face-to-face interviews if Nintendo were to release information on Skyward Sword or Breath of the Wild 2 in terms of trailers or anything like that, for journalists to go up and follow up to get more information, as conversing with the media directly is a huge part of promoting huge games, especially when considering you want to enter the casual market. And since Nintendo can't do that, they want to hold off on trailers and possibly think of a new strategy in order to cast a really wide net when promoting these games. Personally, I don't think they have to, as we live in the age of social media and that word spreads really quickly on things that people care about. And Zelda is definitely one of them, but once again, like I said before, Nintendo is very old-fashioned, although they're swaying away from that in recent years. And at the same time, something that puts this whole idea into the sticky is that we can always have video voice calls in terms of interviews that Nintendo can conduct for Breath of the Wild 2's promotion. Either way, this might lead to some very exciting things, and a lot of people are already taking this as a possible hint of finally getting a big traditional Nintendo Direct where Nintendo just goes in with all of these big unknown titles. And personally, I don't think that's unheard of, but I want to know what you guys think about this Breath of the Wild 2 supposed leak on a collector's edition of that price, and what do you think is going to go in it? Leave your thoughts and theories in the comment section below, and be sure to share up the video to get people in the know. Please like and subscribe as I post Zelda content every week. Until the next one, this has been HMK, and I'll check you guys later.